Hey lasers, it's Wazell. Thanks for listening. Just a heads up, this is the YouTube edited version of the show. This is not the fully envisioned version of the show because of copyright laws. A lot of the music has been removed. So if you want that version, please go to horophilia.com and look for BananaLaser Podcast. Thanks, lasers. Keep on banana-ing. Keep on banana-ing. Thanks.
Does it look good already? Okay.
Jumbo Scampi for limited.
All for a price that will make you.
Are you troubled by strange noises in the middle of the night?
Do you experience feelings of dread in your basement or attic?
Have you or your family ever seen a spook, specter, or ghost?
If the answer is yes, then don't wait another minute. Pick up the phone and call the professionals. BananaLaser. Our courteous and efficient staff is on call 24 hours a day to serve all your supernatural elimination needs. BananaLaser.
We're ready to believe you. That's about a 9 on the tension scale, Rube. What's up, fuckers? Welcome to BananaLaser, the podcast that has to be peeled to be believed. My name is Matt. Wazell if you're nasty. And with me, as always, is the guy that if you're playing a drinking game right now, you need to take a drink when he says the word whacked. Dave Z. What the fuck is up, Dave Z?
Hey, yo, what's going on? Who's gonna get fucking whacked first, bitches?
Drink.
Yep,
drink.
Let's go. Yep. I'm off to the races myself, guys.
Yep.
What's up, brother? How are you?
I am great. It's good to be back in the Laser Lounge, as usual.
Yes, sir.
Yep. And this time, guys, we're bringing you something a little different. We've done it before, but we're bringing back our Unholy Trinity, a real one this time, not just an excuse to do a Friday retrospective. But we're doing our Unholy Trinity of horror comedies. Yes. And like them, love them, hate them. Don't care about them. We're doing it, so it's coming.
Yeah, right on. It's fucking coming, all right. Oh, sorry.
Wait, what? Is that your phone?
It used to be my ring. Right, now it's Exorcist. I flip around.
Oh, no shit.
All the time. Every text I get is fucking horror-related. Every freaking ringer I have. Yeah, I'm a fucking whack job.
You're a freak. Hey, you said it. You said whack. That's close enough.
Get in there, kids.
Take a drink. Yeah, I actually had, that screenshot of the Captain Howdy from The Exorcist on my phone. So every time I got a phone call, that picture would pop up, and so it was always kind of freaky to have that, because that image is, I think it's portrayed by a woman, but it's just so fast in the movie. It just, it's kind of like, what, did I just see something, And so when you're like staring at it, for longer than half a second, it's kind of creepy. Definitely.
It's sweet. It's a woman? I never knew that.
Yeah, it's a chick with, all that freaky makeup and, weird teeth and stuff. So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
No shit.
Yeah, Captain Howdy. I don't know.
Wow. Huh. I thought I knew everything there was to know about The Exorcist, and wow, you just got me. That's good stuff.
That's probably the only trivia I know about The Exorcist.
Yeah, well, have you ever watched the freaking commentary?
No, not on that flick. Uh-uh.
Well, I had, because as much as I love the movie, I had to. And let me tell you, it's unfortunately it's very boring. It's very play-by-play, and it's the director. It's William Friedkin, but it's just but don't bother. It's you and I could make it a much more entertaining. Just giving the information. If we knew what he knew, it doesn't matter. He doesn't give us any information. He just talks about the scene. Yeah, well, this is the scene where
this happens, and look, this is happening. Oh, those are terrible.
Yeah, well, not everyone's really meant for that type of, and not everybody can do a podcast. We can do what we can do. We certainly can't direct like fucking that man can. So whatever.
Yeah, no, because he's a great director. And speaking of commentaries, though, you just listened to the Lords of Salem commentary. Now, I think. His previous commentaries are pretty awesome. Did you listen to that?
I only listened to a small bit of it. That I only watched the first 40 minutes of Lords of Salem, and then I couldn't give it my complete attention, so I did not want to finish it. That's a movie I want to watch when I'm wide awake and I can really get into the atmosphere of it. It was really late at night. I had already watched a couple Friday the 13th back to back, and I said, I'm going to stop right now. And then shortly after, I was sitting around, I was doing a little work in my living room, but I put it on just to listen to the commentaries. I was working, and I heard about 15 minutes of it, and unfortunately that was it. Then I said, you know what? Once again, I want to give this my full attention, so I stopped. And my wife's already seen it with me, so. And actually, she liked it. How about that?
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah, she liked it better. She didn't like House of a Thousand Corpses. Did not like it.
Yeah, me neither.
Wasn't really into Devil's Rejects.
Really? Huh.
Could give or take the Halloweens, but
yeah.
This one, she actually was like, oh, yeah. She was like, that's not bad. That was her. I was like, hey, okay, sweet. So, yeah.
That's good. Yeah, I do love, even though I might not like some of his movies, I do love Rob Zombie in interviews, his commentary. He's just a really interesting guy. You could tell he's super intelligent, intellectual kind of dude. So that kind of stuff is always entertaining for me.
Yeah, same here. And he talks like he's one of us. Like he talks like, you know what I mean? He's like, oh, well, I remember listening to the one, he was actually bitching about how much it cost for and this flannel shirt here cost us $200. That's what they charge us for. And he was like, basically bitching about it, saying, well, the studio completely overcharges everything, and this shit like that. He was just talking about in the House of a Thousand Corpses I watched, and he talked about everything, and it was just he was very down to earth and intelligent at the same time, but just he's the kind of guy that you actually could consider, not that it would happen, but he would be a good person to interview. Like he's a cat you could sit on a show like this and we could interview him, and it would be like shooting the shit with him. He wouldn't be so know.
Yeah,
I don't know the word.
So let's get to it. Here's our first interview. Rob Zombie, you're on with BananaLaser. Sweet. Oh wait, he's not there.
Unholy, just like you. Yeah, unholy. Sorry.
Sweet. I don't have to drop the music in now. There we go. So yeah, perfect segue. Let's fucking get into this unholy trinity of horror comedies. And I will start it off. If you guys don't know what this is, we take an idea, this time it's horror comedies, and then we pick our top 3 favorites, and then we list them from the bottom up, and we talk about them, and then we make fun of each other for picking stupid shit, and that's about it, and it's just a fun conversation. So I'll start it off. Top 3 horror comedies, and these are also, let me just say, these are our favorites. These don't mean necessarily like technically good movies or anything like that. It's just what we enjoy personally. So my number 3 is from 1989, starring Tom Hanks, and that's The Burbs.
Wow.
That one didn't occur to you?
No, it did not occur to me. And as soon as you said 1989, I was already thrown off.
Oh, really?
Because I knew the years of the movies I was looking at, and wow, interesting.
I love this movie. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Tom Hanks in his. Well, I'm a huge fan of him regardless. But when he was doing his the first probably 10 or 12 years of his movie career, and they were pretty much all comedies.
Right.
I loved the majority of those movies, and The Burbs really stuck out because I already had an affection to horror movies, of course. And this one, it's definitely a comedy first, and all the horror elements come in second. But to me, that's what made it fun. If it was just a normal comedy about a neighborhood cul-de-sac and weird neighbors and stuff like that, it wouldn't be as good. But they made the incoming neighbors very frightening, mysterious, foreigners, which is always scary. Sorry, I'm kidding. And so, I mean, it's definitely a comedy first, but this is one of those movies where I had, I taped it off like HBO or Showtime or something, and I just wore it out because to me it worked on every level. It's got the actors in it are great. Like I said, Tom Hanks is brilliant. It's got Princess Leia. You know, I mean,
really?
Come on, yeah.
Carrie Fisher's in there?
Yeah, she's his wife. Yeah.
She's the wife? Oh,
Yep.
no shit.
She's his wife. I think it's got Corey Feldman.
Really? Feldman too?
Yeah, dude.
What the fuck?
Feldman's in it. Yeah, it's a great flick. It's directed by Joe Dante, who did
the director.
Yeah, he did Gremlins and what's that movie with John Goodman that he did? Fuck. Where is
John Goodman?
Yeah, fuck. It's about a movie theater that John Goodman's running. I'll think of it later. It's fuck. Anyways, and Bruce Dern, and I had no idea who Bruce Dern was. He's a classic actor. He has a huge body of work, but and I've never even seen him in anything else, and I don't even know if he's done comedies before, but he was just hilarious in this movie because he plays like a super militant kind of guy, and so when they decide to wage war against their neighbors, you know, he brings in all these fucking army techniques and fucking equipment and all that. It's just hilarious. I just love that movie. I actually haven't seen it in a long time, but it's one that always stuck with me when I was younger, and so yeah, it's definitely one of my favorites for horror comedy. Now, have you seen this movie? I guess you haven't.
No, I can't front. I have not.
Okay.
I wish I did. I really, and it's going right in the Netflix queue when we finish recording, because I've heard people talk about it, and I just thought it was a comedy.
That's what I was going to ask you. It basically is a comedy, but I wouldn't say there's any horror in it. But the plot of it is like it takes place on this cul-de-sac. You got a bunch of neighbors, and then one day this family of like 3 dudes, moves in, and then all of a sudden another neighbor mysteriously disappears, and so these neighbors are all watching everybody every day and all this stuff, and so they just piece together that, well, they kidnapped him or killed him or something like that. So they just start spying on these neighbors constantly because they're foreign and they're strange and all this stuff. So yeah,
no shit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Hilarious flick. Hilarious.
Wow, I'm very curious. Son of a bitch. I wish I would have seen it, because I know this is a movie that a lot of people talk about, and it's from the 80s, and it's I don't watch too many comedies nowadays. Yeah. Too many modern comedies. I'll watch a few when they're recommended, and they're hit or miss. But usually something from the 80s, I'll give it a chance. Or especially growing up, when I grew up with HBO and all that shit, and being a TV child as I was, I witnessed a lot of comedies. I witnessed a ton of it. I wish I would have seen The Burbs, because I've heard a lot of people talk about it. Yeah. But I never sat down and watched it, and I don't know why. It was just one that eluded me, and it's like a black comedy, so that's definitely that's something I'd be into. Have you ever seen Neighbors with John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd?
That's what I thought of whenever I was saying that. And no, I haven't seen that, but that's the movie I thought of at the beginning when I was saying, well, it's just, if it didn't have kind of this horror element, I think it would be more like that movie. That's what I was thinking of.
Gotcha. Because that's, some people call that a dark comedy, and there is some strange things going on, but to me it's just comedy. Yeah. But whatever, and that's one of my all-time favorite comedies. So, but The Burbs, it does have like a cult following. There is a lot of people that are into this, and there's probably a lot of people listening that are going to be glad that you chose it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's definitely not a scary movie at all. It's never scary. I mean, it plays upon that, but yeah, it's never really scary. And this movie also has, because a couple of the neighbors are speculating on what these new neighbors are up to. And one of them throws out the theory that they're Satanists or cultists of some kind, and he starts doing this chant that they might be doing in their home. And I repeat this chant to this day I do it at work all the time. Not when I'm frustrated, just to like, just to be funny. But it goes, I want to kill everyone. Satan is good. Satan is my pal. Oh, it's always good to be walking past somebody at work and be chanting that. It really throws them off.
That's fucking funny.
Yeah.
Wow, son of a bitch! I wish I would have seen it because I would have been a better candidate for this segment right now. But
that's all good.
You turned me on to it.
Exactly, and yeah, that's a good point about it because now maybe you'll watch it. I mean, you'll probably hate it. Who knows?
No, I don't know. A comedy from the 80s and Tom Hanks.
Yeah,
and I liked all of Tom Hanks' early comedies. I even liked fucking Bosom Buddies, if you can remember that.
Oh
show.
Yeah, sure. I thought you were gonna say The Man with One Red Shoe.
Never saw it. That was kind of dramatic, wasn't it?
I don't know. I really don't remember that movie. I didn't
okay. I say that all the time at work, and no one knows what the fuck I'm talking about. And the reason I say it is because on the roulette wheel, because I work in the casino, when the number, you know how everything, I don't know if you know, but casino roulette wheel, there's red and there's black, and then there's numbers from 1 to 36, and then 0 and 00. Well, when you call your game, let's say, I'll say 13, of course. When 13 comes up, if I spin the ball and 13 drops in the thing, a professional dealer will take the marker, put it on number 13, and he'll say 13 black odd. Because it's an odd number, the color is black, and 13 is the number that came up. Those are different bets that you could make on it, okay? Well, anyway, not everyone says odd or even. That's a little extreme, but but usually you'll say 13 black or whatever. Okay, so it comes up. Well, when 1 comes up, 1 is red. So it comes in, and you put the thing on there, and you say 1 red. And I always say, the man with 1 red shoe. I say 1 red. It's just one of the things I do at work.
Oh, that's funny.
I don't know if anybody catches on to it, but... What the fuck? I'm a freak. I see shit at work and different numbers. I'll see this is a football player's number or whatever.
I'm gonna surprise you one day and just show up to where you work.
Nice.
Just casually walk in and go up to your table, whatever you're doing, and start playing.
Could you imagine? That'd be fuck. And then hand me a card and I'll fucking get it. What's this? Wazelle? What the? Because I might be wearing a suit that day before I'll swipe the card. Wait a second. Not even paying attention to what I'm doing because I'm usually so fucking busy I don't know what's going on anyway. You know what? Joe Dante directed The Howling, and I
oh, okay. See, I knew he had a lot of. Yeah, I just couldn't.
He did another horror movie. It just that was the one, And he did like Inner Space, I think, and something. But I can't think of the movie with what's his name?
John Goodman. Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
it's a movie. It's it takes place like during the 50s, and he's a theater. He's a movie producer, I think, and he's doing elaborate productions in the theater. Kind of like The Tingler and shit like that.
Is it Matinee?
Yes, Matinee. There you go.
That's the one, huh?
I'm pretty sure Dante did that one too.
Never saw it, but the title. Okay. All right, no shit. You know what else he did? 2 Masters of Horror, and they were both pretty good.
I have not seen those. Yeah.
No, they're good. Yeah, that's right. You told me on an earlier show you never saw Masters of Horror.
Yeah.
Well, he did 2 of them. The Screw Fly Solution and Homecoming. And the Screw Fly Solution was cool. And fuck, you know who was in it? It was Jason Priestley.
Really?
Was the star of that. But it was cool. It was all about differences between men and women, and men went on this killing rampage, or women did. I forgot exactly, but it was good. And Homecoming was actually very political. It was about the zombies. This is actually cool. It was zombies coming that were killed in the recent wars, and they were rising from the dead to put in their votes against the fucking current president. So at the time,
that's
at
heavy.
the time, right? It was George Bush at the time, and there was a lot of war going on.
Oh shit!
Yes, so people that were killed in the Gulf War or in Afghanistan and everything else were fucking rising from the grave zombies to come in and fucking vote the president that waged wars out of office. Yeah, who would have thought that would be in a zombie movie? But yeah,
wow. But it was all serious, right? It wasn't played funny because it sounds like you could take it real goofy.
Well, it's kind of it's a little bit satirical, of course.
Well,
but I would say it was Masters of Horror. They were pretty much serious.
Yeah,
kind of like Tales from the Crypt. Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah.
Some of them were a little bit campy. Maybe you could say that about Homecoming, but it isn't sit back and fucking ha ha. I'll tell you that. It's, especially subject matter of that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's crazy. I'll have to check that out.
But I'm renting the damn Burbs. That's a fact because I've heard about it before. Now you rating it this high with all these movies to choose from. It's definitely
Well, I tell you, I'll let you peek behind the curtain here a little bit. When I made this list, when we decided to do this show, I made the list, and the first two were stupid easy, and it might be the ones that are on everyone's list. I don't know, but to me, they're stupid easy. And they're classics, and deservingly so. But then the third slot was really tough, and I had probably, 10, or not 10, maybe like 8 other movies that I could just slide in there interchangeably, and it was kind of, and I finally settled on the Burbs, just because it's horror comedies, and this one always, it definitely brings the comedy, and so that's why I picked it. The other ones, they're more horror and comedy second, which is probably pertains more to this list, but I wanted to change it up a little bit. So,
right, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yep. So, the Burbs, number 3. So, Dave, why don't you kick off your list, buddy?
Well, I pretty much stuck with horror first, comedy second. Mm-hmm. And I also, had a couple that were probably going to be a little too obvious, so I'm trying to actually play it off yours, where you might pick it and I might not. But number 1's still number 1. I'm not going to change it. So, but as far as 3 and 2, they're interchangeable because I had about, I think I listed 4, maybe 5, and one of them absolutely had to be number 1, and we'll get to that when it comes. But this I clock it at number 3. And it is Stuart Gordon's Reanimator.
Ah, yep. See, that was one of those ones for my third pick that I was thinking about sliding in there. But and I love that movie, but I am less familiar with it. I've only seen it one time. And
wow.
And that was a couple years ago, and I loved it. But I never bought it. I want to buy it. I just never did, and I haven't watched it again. But yeah, great pick. Yeah, that. I'd love that movie. Yeah, absolutely. Great pick.
I'm glad you've seen it, even if it's just once.
Yeah.
It's $10 at the Blu-ray's $10 at Best Buy.
I need to do it. I'm gonna do it. Yeah.
Yeah, get on it, man. Because it's this movie. I wouldn't call it. It's black comedy and there's humor in it. Mm-hmm. It's not over the top. And there's just so much going on.
It's like situational, The situations are just funny in nature, just because, the way they play them and stuff like that. But but Herbert West, isn't that his name? And the guy who plays him, oh my God,
Jeffrey Combs.
Dude. Oh my God, so awesome, man. He is fucking badass in that flick.
Just his delivery of just about every line.
Yes.
Whether or not it's intended to be comical, that's where the comedy comes in for me.
Yes.
There's some obvious comic spots, but
he's playing it all straight though. He plays it so straight, and it comes off hilarious.
Yeah, and there's sick humor later on in the movie. As the movie goes on, there's some sick things that go on, and some other shit, and some people think some of it's disturbing, but his delivery of the lines are just. Like in the beginning, they're talking about his girlfriend has a cat, or he has the cat, and the cat dies, and he just moves in, and they're beefing about it because they end up finding that the dead cat. They're looking for this cat, and they find the dead cat in his refrigerator in the room he's renting. So anyway, they find it in there, and he just moved in like a few days before, and they're bitching, and they're saying shit to him, and he's like, well, you could have at least left a note, and then fucking the way he says it, and then Jeffrey Combs goes, and he goes, and come on, he goes, what would a note say? Cat dead? Details later?
Shit
like that. His delivery is just comical as fuck.
I don't remember that part, but I'm a big fan of the American version of The Office. I don't know if you ever watched that, but that same situation happens in The Office. There's a character on there who loves cats, and she's dating one of the other guys. Well, the cat dies, and so he's just very, a matter of fact and everything, and non-emotional. And so all he does is stick it in the freezer so it wouldn't stink up the house, and he doesn't say anything to her. Oh, that's funny. But yeah,
that is funny. And then there's the other part. All hell was breaking loose. It's when they first actually they go to the morgue and they reanimate the first person because he's got the solution, and he gets it in there and he talks his roommate into it as the story goes, and they go in there and then fucking all hell breaks loose. And then the dean who he's dating, the dean's daughter, he comes in and he gets bitten. All hell is breaking loose, and fucking they're trying to stop this one of them from because he's tearing shit up. So he's holding the freaking bone saw and like, oh, hell's breaking loose, and freaking he's so calm about it, and he's like, Dan, and Dan's the other character, and he goes, look out, he says, real calm and cool. And then he walks with the bone saw and he puts it in the zombie's chest and fucking tears him up, and and then before the girl comes, his wife or his girlfriend, they know that she's on the way. She's like, Daddy, where are you? And she's coming to the morgue, and he goes, damn that bitch. He says, and it's his fucking roommate's girlfriend. Right. He's fucking calling her a bitch right in front of him.
Yeah, it's great. And one thing I fucking just really appreciate about the movie is the look of it all. I mean, it's definitely it's a low budget movie, but I mean the colors in it are great. I mean, the serum, it's that bright green color, looks great. The special effects in this movie are fucking phenomenal, dude. And and you could all the sets are seem like really small and stuff like that, but it's just the way it's all lit and stuff. It's just perfect for the movie.
I think it all works out great. Yeah. I think that the opening right off the bat, it's great. The music they play, even though it's a Psycho ripoff, and the colors, but the thing is, it's a ripoff, but it's actually, this movie is just full. It's a big homage to many different movies, and that was the guy that scored it. That was his intent. Because it was so blatant, and they did all kinds of homages right through the movie, and it's just full of them. And the more knowledgeable you are about the genre, the more you pick up on as you watch it. Yeah. But that's just one of the things about it. But it looks good, and the music throughout the whole movie, it wouldn't be the same without the music. The music, like so many great horror movies, it's a key element to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
The acting is great. They're all great. Dean Cain or whatever, fucking. The Dr. Hill, that fucking guy, man, they all perform great. And this movie, there's not a dull moment in it. It starts, it's like it only
it's very fast paced, yeah.
Yes, it's very fast paced. It comes right in and boom, boom, boom. It's almost just one thing after another, and then fucking it just gets out of hand. The gore is out of fucking hand, and the comedy, it's it's just played so well the way it's in there. Like when he cuts off the dean's head, and then he's trying to stand it up straight, and he takes it and he puts it on one of them what are those things called? What are those things called that people they stick up straight and people slam their letters through it? Letter puncher or letter what? You know what I'm talking about, right? It's those things that they have in offices, and it's like a
hole
big
punch?
Needle.
What? I don't know.
Not a hole punch. It's like a thing that people take like letters and they slam them down on, like pieces of paper, like a paper fucking stamper. I don't know. Bottom line
a notary?
No, not a notary. It's like a big fucking needle that sticks straight up. Not as thin as
a spike of some kind?
Okay, it's like a metal spike with a base on it, and people, I think they're called letter punchers or letter something. I don't work in a fucking office, so I don't know. But he's trying to stand the head up straight on this thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, now I remember that part. Yep.
He grabs the fucking thing and puts it in there, and he just slams the fucking neck onto it so it stands up straight.
Have you seen any of the sequels? Because I haven't.
Yes, I've seen them all. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I actually liked Bride. Because it came not too long after, so it was still when I was running a lot of horror movies. I was still kind of young, and then I blind bought Beyond, I don't know.
And that one, it takes place in prison or something like that?
It does start off in prison, yeah.
Okay.
And
I haven't
it
seen
wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. Bride wasn't bad either. It was bloody as shit. You know? Didn't have the same amount of gore, but it was actually a good follow-up. You know? But this, this is a whole other thing. It's all downhill from this because it's just fucking, great gore, fucking great story. The shit later with the headless corpse running around. That's where the comedy comes into.
Yeah.
That thing's running around and he's fucking the guy's talking shit to him. And Herbert West says, he goes, "Who's gonna believe a talking head?" He tells him, "Let's get a job in a sideshow."
Great poster. I mean,
yes.
the one that's got Dr. West sitting there with the head on the desk, and then you can kind of make out the body, behind him, like reaching out towards him. I love that poster.
It's great. And how about when the head is fucking doing its own thing and it's controlling its body, and it gets in that sex scene with Barbara Crampton?
That shit is, just fucking whacked. Big time.
Yeah, you actually see a head giving head. It's fucking literal in that movie. It's the only one that I can think of.
The head. That just made me think of shit. I hate the tangent, but that just made me think of because I was watching Beavis and Butthead last week, and around that same time, MTV started doing a lot of animation shows, and there was the one called The Head. Yeah, did you see that?
That big fucking head.
Yeah, he had like a guy that lived in there or some shit. I always loved that show. I wonder if they probably don't have that on DVD or anything. Maybe I could find that somewhere. I'd like to check it out.
We'll have to look around, but yes, I forgot about that show.
Yeah, somebody send me a link to that, please.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe it's on YouTube or something. I don't know. Fuck.
It might be. It's fucking. We'll have to check that out. That's fun. But yeah, if you haven't seen this movie, check it out because it's got everything. It's got gore and it's got some humor in it, and really the acting is pretty good. Pretty much everybody in it does a pretty good job, and it's a nice, fast-paced movie, and you get to see some pretty fucking good gore in it too.
Yeah, the gore is pretty ridiculous, and just watch the opening scene, and if you're not settled, or if you're not satisfied with that, then turn it off because that opening scene is just like a fucking rocket taking off, and it's like, oh shit, this is what I'm in for. Great.
Do you like movie reviews that are insightful, thought-provoking, and delivered by somebody who's trained to critically dissect every aspect of a motion picture without ever having to use obscenities?
Then you've got the wrong show. Kruger Nation Horror Podcast is ready to feed your slasher movie and exploitation needs. There'll be more blood, expletives, and titties than you can shake your grandma's beetle flaps at. Visit www.KrugerNation.com.
Oh, good God, a butthole casserole!
Let's move down the list and go to my number 2 in our unholy trinity of horror comedies, and that is Return of the Living Dead. Maybe it's obvious, I don't know, but fuck this movie. I don't. Even if it wasn't a horror comedy list, this movie is definitely in my top 10 of horror movies. This movie is so much fun. It's retarded to me from the opening shot all the way to the end. It's just a fucking fun ride. The characters are so great, especially basically the three guys that work in the morgue or whatever, and their whole banter back and forth. The boss and the two workers, the older guy and the younger guy. I can't remember anybody's fucking names, but those guys should have been on a sitcom and had their own fucking sitcom because their shit is hilarious. Their whole banter back and forth is fucking gold. And then on top of that, this movie injects so much life into a subgenre that is the zombie genre, and it's ridiculous because, I mean, I don't know if people realize it, but this is really the first time you get running zombies. You get talking zombies. You get the whole
Yep.
get the whole zombies wanting to eat brains and stuff like that. It's like they took Romero's vision with this shit and they added elements to it. They paid homage to him. Obviously, they talked about his movie right at the beginning, and said that basically it was a true story and it's based on this trioxin and all this shit. But it's done so well. I just fucking love it, and maybe it's obvious. It might be on your list. I don't know, but what do you think about this flick, Dave?
Oh, I love it.
Okay,
and I'm glad you picked it because now I don't have to because that's fine.
Yeah.
I have revolving flicks on this shit, so
yeah,
they're all great.
I think this is a clear choice.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, I mean, if nothing else, just point to the scene that it lasts about 45 seconds where the paramedics get killed and then the zombie gets on the fucking the CB, send more paramedics. Dude, that is so good. I mean, and at the time, it's funny how they take the genre and change it. Like I said, they're talking zombies, and all this stuff.
Right.
And whereas nowadays, if you want to take a classic kind of genre and change it that much, you might get a lot of backlash and stuff like that. But this movie is just done so well, and I didn't pay any attention to that. To me, it all made sense in this world, and yeah, it's fucking great. You got Demon in there. I think Demon. I don't know his real name, but.
Miguel Nunez.
Yeah.
He's great.
He did this movie, I think, before Friday 5. I don't know, but
right around the same time. They both came out in '85, so it's hard to say.
Okay. Well, either way, he definitely stands out. And then you got fucking Jesus. What's her name? The chick.
Oh, don't get me started.
Linnea Quigley. Yeah,
Quigley.
Linnea Quigley.
Wee.
When she delivers that line where. And I'm gonna butcher this, but she's like, where she talks about, have you ever thought about what it might be like to die violently? I mean, that she's just so like deadpan in it, but it's fucking great. I fucking love it.
It's great because everything that comes out of her mouth in the first like half hour, she delivers it a certain way, and she's like, "That's great," and like,
yeah,
she talks,
exactly.
she's like about what it's like to die, and she talks, but then after the shit hits the fan and they get rained on by the shit after they freaking do the burning in the rain and they all get infested and all hell breaks loose, then she's in the back seat of the car fucking stark naked, and her whole tone changes and you see the real person that she is. It's really funny to see the transition because she's so fucking into character in the first half when she's doing all that shit, and oh, fuck, don't get me started on that whole dancing scene.
Oh, yeah. So hot.
So hot. Her body was fucking perfect at that time. I mean, she's so small. She's short. Her tits are huge. She got just enough of a handful of ass. And the way she acts in that movie, like, when I watch that now, I'm like, man, I wish if I was young, I would have known a chick just like that. I would have fucking... Seriously, because, they're teenagers. I'm like, man... what a girl to know that would be. She gets all fucking crazy, and that famous scene where she just takes off all her clothes and dances naked on the fucking top of those graves, and wow, that's just tremendous. I mean, that's got little to do with the movie itself because there's just so many great things about the movie. From the opening minute, it's great.
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, the opening shot is like. It says flat out everything that happens in this movie is real. Fact, and it's like you just look at the box cover and be like, no, it's not, like it's got a zombie spray painting on a tombstone. It's like, no, this isn't real.
Right. It's great though, and all the actors are great, like you said.
Yeah.
Fucking Clu Gallagher, he plays Bert.
Bert.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
But I'll tell you.
He's great.
He is great. But I think James Cameron, the guy that plays the fucking guy Frank, the boss, not the boss, but the manager or whatever. I think he steals the show.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he's the best of all three of them. They're all great. Tom Matthews is great as
Tommy Jarvis.
Yeah, right. Tommy Jarvis is Freddy is actually his name, but it's fucking. They're like you said about their banter. Oh, it's great. Like right off the bat, everything that happens, and just even before Bert gets there. When they first get not possessed, but like when he first hits the thing, what are you talking about? He goes, this is from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. and he stamps on it, and then the fucking shit comes out. Yeah. But James Karen, after they come to and all this shit goes on, and later on when he starts vomiting, he's so violent with his fucking vomiting. It's fucking so animated and it's comical. Oh, God! He runs. Oh, it's fucking... To hear someone puke that way, I never thought I'd be laughing at somebody fucking puking, but when that guy acts in that manner, it's just so over the top. And the shit that he's fucking, God, really, I could gush over it myself. You picked it, I feel the same way because, right after that happens in the opening credits and the music that comes on, and then the fucking... And you see the first
great
one.
Soundtrack.
Oh man! And then you see that one that becomes Tarman later, but it kicks off the whole thing. You see like the air hitting it and like the face like melting, so to speak.
Melting away or something. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh man, it's great. And the best parts though, I really prefer the first like 45 minutes of this movie to the second half. I love everything that leads up when it's just the three of them, and then when they go to the embalmers, all that shit to me. And just going to the kids a little bit back and forth. I love that shit. I mean, it's out of control. And they see about when they fucking first come out of it and they hear their barking.
Oh, my God.
They see it's the split dog. James Carrot Frank, his fucking reaction, he grabs a crutch, he starts beating on a fucking split dog. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah. The whole movie front to back is just fucking... utter brilliance to me. And have you seen the documentary about this movie and the entire Return of the Living Dead series, the More Brains documentary?
You hear the fucking dog again? We're talking about the split dog. This fucking dog's barking again. Fucking Pete, what are you doing?
Oh
seriously,
God.
they're trained to hear fucking when you say food or dog or do this, they fucking go crazy.
Yep, like right now.
Yeah, like every time they fucking won't do the knock when I ask them. That's the problem with these fucking dogs in this laser lounge. When you want them to do something for show, they won't do it. And the other time, as soon as the fucking mics are off, you'll do that and they'll start going crazy. But he's like, shit. Watch your mouth, buddy, if you like this job. Like this job!
Yeah.
It's fucking great.
Just great. I think this is one of those movies where I could watch like twice in a row kind of thing, and I think I've done that. I think I played it and then just hit play again. It's like, okay, what else am I doing? This was great. Let's watch it again. Definitely great movie, but at the same time, the special effects, just look great. Not every one of the zombies, but the main zombies and stuff like that. They got a great look. There's some really great gore and stuff in this movie. So. Oh man, yes. How about the one that talks when they have her and she's cut in half? Yeah, that iconic scene right there, just iconic. Yeah. It's fucking great. Mm-hmm. I mean that's some great shit. And what's cool about this movie is it's one of the few zombie movies where you see a bunch of bodies actually rising from the grave. Yes, I was going to say that. Yeah. Right? Because you see it a little bit in Night of the Living Dead, a little. But I mean, we're led to believe that happens in all the zombie movies, but you don't really see a lot of it. And then there's actually a shot. I love this shot of you actually see like them underground, and you see like the back of one like clawing up the dirt somehow, and before they actually start rising out of the grave. And then it reminds me a lot of Thriller, and that part in Thriller, right. That's true. But to do the ending beat that they do is fucking great too. They flash back to that fucking skeleton with eyes, which doesn't really make sense, but it works. Right? Yeah, I know. Right. Skeleton with eyes coming up, and then fucking bam, the music kicks in. Do you wanna party? That's and then the credits start rolling. It's fucking just great.
It is. Oh, it is a great.
That I tell you, it was that. That's the reason why I watched it again immediately. I think is because that
gets you excited.
Yeah, it's one of those movies where it ends and you're just fucking yes. You just put your fists up in the air like that was fucking awesome. Let's watch that again. And,
oh man, right? I tell you. How about that when that first guy comes out, that whole sequence, and they put a fucking pickaxe in its brain, and then in its head, it's still moving, and then they saw off the fucking head, and it's still going.
The yellow guy, the naked yellow dude.
Yeah, him.
Why is he yellow? Is that some medical thing I don't know about?
I don't know. Maybe he looks kind of rubbery. That's the only thing about that movie is that particular that bald fucking yellow guy. He looks a little too rubbery, and all his body parts do too, which are great. I mean, when they go to the other part, the whole fucking sequence when he tells the fucking embalmer, he goes, "Rabid weasels." That whole fucking thing.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right. What's in the bag?
Yeah, can you do me a favor, buddy? I've known you 25 years, and he goes, "We need to fucking burn these rabid weasels." He tells him.
Rabid weasels.
Oh, what a thing to say. Then he doesn't go for it. Then he goes, "Well, let me show you." And then, sure enough. It's the fucking that arm because they chop the guy up, and that's what the rabid weasels are, of course. It's all his different body parts, but even those things, they all look yellow and rubbery. It's kind of funny because the other the effects are really good. Tarman looks fucking badass.
Oh yeah, he's one of the most iconic zombie characters in the horror genre, definitely.
Well, yeah, he's responsible straight up for fucking brains.
Yeah. Oh my God, his look is brilliant, but then
it is.
And then they kind of fucking ruined it in part 2, but whatever.
Yeah, fuck part 2.
Yeah.
But this movie, you can do no wrong. It's and you know what else I really like about how they get sick, how Tommy Jarvis and freaking Frank get sick, and they have no blood pressure, no pulse. I love that angle, that whole situation.
It's great.
Yeah. Yes, they're actually, and then rigor mortis sets in on them as they're still like, quote unquote alive. It's very creative.
And the paramedics, they're checking up on them, and they're just like, fuck, and then they kind of talk to themselves, and they're like, what's going on? What do you mean there's no pulse? It's just so great, man. It is
great.
That kind of thing, it's never been done before, and it's so much good comedy comes out of it, and it's the fucking writing, and it's the actors, man. That's where all that comedy comes in. It's written very well, and it's fucking they act the shit out of it, especially the two leads,
Yes. Oh, they're great. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. They fucking, like you said, right at the start off, the banter between them two, the whole thing, that's comedy gold, and everything else that goes on, is all the horror elements are just, because this is seriously... Only horror fans are watching this movie. People aren't going to say, let's watch a good fucking comedy. Let's watch Return of the Living Dead.
No.
It's probably not going to happen, But a horror fan's going to watch this. They're going to see all the great horror elements to it, and they're going to see the fucking, it's great comedy. Like me, we bashed on, like, Jason 6 when we were doing our show, about the over-the-top comedy, and it felt it didn't belong and everything else, and they tried too hard. Certain movies you take seriously... And you're supposed to. In certain movies, you're supposed to just have fun with, and it just fits in. In this movie, it fits in perfectly. I don't know how else to put it. Yeah. It's just there's not one moment like, oh, there's too much comedy. You don't give a fuck. You just enjoy the movie because there's so much going on. It's just so much fun.
Mm-hmm. Yes, fun. Yeah, that's the key word there. And it actually, if I remember correctly, like I was saying that, I watched that documentary, or maybe it was from the commentary or something like that, but it was supposed to be more serious, and like Freddie or Tommy Jarvis or Tom Matthews or whatever you want to call him, he was supposed to be a heroin addict or something like that, and he was trying to kick heroin, and his character was supposed to be more. It was supposed to be more serious and shit like that. So,
wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't know who injected the comedy in it. But I guess it was Dan O'Bannon. He wrote and directed this thing, I believe.
Oh, so, he wrote it also. Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I believe so. I don't know.
Well, that's impressive. Wow, nice.
Yep. So there you go. That's my number 2 pick for our horror comedy, Unholy Trinity. Dave, what you got?
Wow, how about that? What do I have? I tell you, that kind of threw me for a little bit of a loop with Return because I was going to pick it. But here's the deal. Now there's 2 left that I thought they were going to definitely be on your list. Well, apparently one is not going to be. So which one is not going to be on?
I know exactly what you're thinking too.
See, this is behind the curtains now. See, now we're right on the air, but we got nothing to hide. I'm trying to figure this out. I know a movie I could pick that's a safe pick, and I know you're not going to pick it as your number 1, and I enjoy it as well. Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to play the safe route because I don't want to have any repeats here. And I'm going to go with another movie from, oh my gosh, this dog. My God. It's the fucking split dog. Anyway, 1986 this one is, and I'm going with House.
Ah, okay.
And House, interestingly enough, is brought to you by the Friday the 13th people.
Sean Cunningham, did he do that?
Sean Cunningham produced it.
Okay.
Steve Miner directed it, and
really?
The music.
Oh, okay.
And the music is by Manfredini.
No shit, huh? And it stars the greatest American hero. I'm sorry. No,
yes, it does. Well, the thing about the cast of this movie is it stars the greatest American hero, and it also stars Norm from Cheers, and it also stars Bull from Night Court. So you got fucking 3 people that were involved in 3, I wouldn't say American Heroes sitcom,
Bull.
but yeah, you remember Bull in Night Court, the big bald fucking.
But he plays like a zombie or something.
Yeah, what's his name? The fucking what do you call it? Big Ben? Is that his fucking name in this movie?
Okay.
The guy from Vietnam that was.
That's
his,
right. That's right. Yep.
And he's straight zombified at the end.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's how I remember him. He's a zombie in fatigues or whatever.
He's
Uncle Sam.
Right? He was Uncle Sam before Uncle Sam.
Yeah, the original. Right. Yeah.
This is true. That is the way he looked. And Big Ben. He was in Vietnam with them, and most of what you see of him throughout the movie is this guy Roger Cobb's flashbacks to when he was in Nam, and this guy was fighting alongside with them, and all the shit's going on, and then at the end it's revealed that he is the freaking, for whatever reason, I don't know why he's involved because it was his grandmother's house to begin with, but he supposedly ends up being the one behind the whole thing because he asked for mercy from his buddy, who was the star of the show, when they were back in Nam. He wanted him to kill him, because he was going to get taken in, and he said, I'm going to try to save you. He ran off, he came back. By the time he got back, he was kidnapped and tortured, apparently, for a long time, and now he's taken out his vendetta on fucking this poor bastard who was tortured through the whole fucking movie. But the thing about House is it has humor in it, but it isn't like, it's not hokey, It's executed the right way, and it's just a good haunted house story from start to finish. There's different things going on in it. The house itself, I think, looks incredible.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I do remember that. What I remember from this movie the last time I watched it, I remember it being like uneven tonal wise, because like it would be scary 1 second and then like really goofy. I thought, I can't remember specifics, but he'd be. Yeah, was there some kind of creature chasing him at one point? I can't remember, but it was like somewhat goofy, and to me it was like. It was a little uneven, but I enjoyed it, And didn't it end with like him going through a mirror into like some other realm or something like that and fighting some kind of demon?
Well, a lot of things are going on with mirrors, or with going into another realm, or things coming out of the realm. But it really got crazy towards the end. But prior to that, you just see the guy. He gets to the house and. At the very beginning is great because this woman commits suicide, and she walks up, and some guy comes to deliver some groceries or whatever, and he, I guess he comes in the house normally, and he can't see her or find her or whatever. This old lady goes upstairs, and freaking he sees her freaking corpse swinging from her bedroom. This woman hung herself, And then this guy inherits the house. And then he gets over there, and we find out that he's divorced. And his wife, his ex-wife is so hot. Holy shit. So he's married, he has his hot ex-wife, and she's in Hollywood and shit. She's like an actress. And he is a writer, a horror novelist. And he's trying to write his first book outside of horror about Vietnam. And like he's in the beginning, that's where you see some of the comedy, the crowd that lines up for him, and some of the things they say when they're coming to his book signing. It's that type of comedy. It's just like some weird people and shit like that. But then he gets in and actual horror starts, because right off the bat he sees the guy's showing the house around. He's showing him the house because the realtor wants him to sell the house. You know, that's his whole angle. And he flashes back about a year before or something like that. He was there helping his aunt around the house, and he was clipping some things outside. And his wife was in the house, and his little boy was next to him. And the next thing you know, he has like this little 6, 7, 8-year-old boy. Next thing you know, he turns around because he was in the backyard with him, and he's gone. Then he sees a car pull off. He doesn't know if it's that. He's running around. He's like, "Where's the kid?" He sees his wife in the hallway because they're still married at the time. It's a flashback. "Have you seen him?" "No, I thought he was with you." Then she runs it. He sees him in the pool. Jumps in the pool to get him because the kid's drowning. Then he can't find him in the pool anyway. The kid's gone. And then the woman's talking about what the cops. She goes, "It's the house. It's the house that did it." And then the mother's getting angry. She's like, "You're crazy. Shut up." Da, 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 da. But anyway, basically it's all about this poor bastard. He's had issues with Vietnam. He's lost his son. Kid came up missing in that house, and now he has to go back to it. And then, he's divorced with this woman, and all this shit's going on. But the comedy elements are, I don't know. I don't think, you were saying that it was uneven, that you thought it was some over-the-top comedy?
Yeah, I thought so. It just didn't, like some of the other ones we talked about, Reanimator and Return of the Living Dead, it all gelled seamlessly, whereas it's been probably 7 years since I've seen this, but I just remember it, and maybe, I can't get real specific because I don't remember. It's just remember how I feel coming away from it, and that was that there would be a scary scene, and then the next scene was be kind of goofy, or just a little too out there, and definitely not scary. You know what I mean? So that's why I mean it's kind of uneven like that.
Well, there was a couple strange looking things, like this one creature was at his house, and we thought it was his wife coming in, and it turned into this big fat thing.
Yes, that's the main part that I remember. Is that that whole part? Yep.
It looked kind of silly. Yeah. But I wouldn't say. But the situation itself. Wasn't goofy at all.
No, you're right, and I think maybe it was the look of that thing. Because they play it serious,
right?
I think maybe it's a combination of the look of that, and I kind of think the music kind of was kind of lighthearted or something. Maybe I'm totally wrong.
No, the music was not. It was straight up. Remember how we discussed it on the other show with Harry Manfredini doing the music with Slaughter High. It wasn't a rip of Friday the 13th. Didn't sound like Slaughter High, but you can tell that it was Harry Manfredini's music and his score. It was similar to those things, but it wasn't a rip like with Slaughter High. But no, it was definitely serious music. It was it fit the situation. The music was like horror movie music, and how else can I put it? But some of the situations that happened and the way it played out, there was a little comedy with having what's his name, Norm from Cheers in there when he comes up to the thing and he's kind of bullshitting him about it. He opens up the door at midnight and he has all these cameras. He's trying to get a picture of it, and he just meets the guy. Norm's his neighbor.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. He's got all that gear on, all that old army gear, and he runs out, and then then he sees Norm standing outside, and that's kind of played off funny.
That shit was funny. I do remember that now.
Yeah, just little shit like that. One part of it was Norm was funny. George Wendt. He had some funny parts going on. The one time when the lady shows up, and you think it's his ex-wife, and then it turns out that thing. Then he shoots her dead, and he looks down and he sees his fucking dead wife on the front porch. So you actually think that the house turned his ex-wife into that. At that point, you actually think he whacked his ex-wife. And then it turns out not to be true later, but at that one moment, you think it happens. And then Norm looks out his house. He's his next-door neighbor, and He checks it out. He looks. And he hears a gunshot of a rifle or a shotgun or whatever, and he just sees the guy standing there, his neighbor, Roger Cobb, but he doesn't see his dead wife on the ground.
He doesn't see what he sees, yeah.
So he doesn't know what's going on, so he calls the police. What he says was, he goes, I'd like to report a suicide attempt, he said. I just thought it was funny that he would call that in, you know?
Right.
What a thing to say. Who calls it a suicide attempt in? You know?
Yeah, and what did he really see, too? Yeah, exactly.
And then everything else happens later, and then there's some good tension with it because the cops come over, and you know, the comedy, there's humor in it, but it's played the right way, and there's horrific things going on, but it's a good haunted house movie where you see different things. And what you were referring to earlier about the window, it's actually kind of cool because he goes and he sees his aunt. She was a painter. And she was painting all kinds of things, and then she ended up going crazy. She even appeared to him at one point in the beginning. She goes, "This house got me, and it'll get you too. It knows everything about you. It knows what you're afraid of." And then she hangs herself right in front of him, and she rocks back and forth. It's actually quite scary looking. And then she disappears. It's like, you know, and then, you know, he just hallucinated it, but did he? You know, it's one of those situations. And then that shit starts going on. But at the end, he finds a painting, and in the painting, there's some weird shit going on, and you can see that it's part of her bedroom. The painting took place in it. And then he moves like this little rag back that was covering a piece of the picture. And there's actually a picture of the medicine cabinet with the door opened up, and where the mirror is supposed to be is a little boy trapped in the medicine cabinet mirror. And then he sees that. He goes upstairs, and it's actually kind of cool because then that's like another entrance to the other world. And
right. And that's what I remember is he goes to that cabinet or whatever near the end of the film. Yeah. He like ties a rope to him or something like that. And he pulls that boy out of there, right?
Yeah, he goes into the further. It's almost like what they do with Insidious. He goes into that fucking other world, and he goes to look for the kid, and then this one thing flies at him, and it looks just like the fucking thing from Evil Dead 2. That comes at the end with the wings on that skull thing and grabs it and flies off. And it's weird because I'm watching this and I'm watching Reanimator, and with the hand grabbing the thing and Return of the Living Dead. All these movies have hands or severed arms or hands grabbing somebody's neck. And then in House, there's another situation. Now I'm getting off topic, but it's on my head. I have to fucking say it now. That part in House in the beginning, he has like a giant fucking, not a swordfish, but a big fish on a plaque on the wall. And it keeps coming to life and he can't kill it. And that's kind of funny because he decides to shoot it and everything else. And he's trying to shoot this fucking thing. It's like, you know, a plaque on the wall of his house, and he can't stop the thing from moving. And I can't help but thinking, I'm like, holy fuck, this is just what they did in Evil Dead 2 with the deer head and also with the hands being severed. Then I'm like, wow, Evil Dead 2 came out after all these movies. Suddenly I'm like, holy shit, Evil Dead 2 kind of lifted a lot of these things, a lot of these similar ideas. But anyway, it's off topic, but I was thinking about, you know, all these movies, including Evil Dead 2, as I'm doing this. So, but it was cool because he goes into that thing, and then he drops down there, and that thing flies up, and it looks like that thing from Evil Dead 2, and he tries to get his rifle, and I'm not even sure if he succeeds, but then he falls in the water. Long story short, he gets his son at the end of the movie, and he comes back, brings the kid back up, and then he sees that Big Ben zombie. Yeah. And all this shit. And I'll tell you, the makeup effects on him were phenomenal.
I remember him looking very good. Yeah.
Yes, he was almost as good as like Jason in Part 7. It was
that kind of look, yeah.
Yes, he was zombified and like a little bit like Uncle Sam in the face.
Yeah.
And, you know.
All crispy.
Right, exactly. You can see his chest, his ribs and shit like that, and his organs. And, you know, he's this big motherfucker because that guy's big, that freaking Big Ben. That actor. Yeah, Richard Mole. And, you know, that whole scene is scary. I mean, fucking, if you're a kid, I could definitely see being scared by it. Now, it's not scary, but the thing, this movie, it really has its place. And honestly, it's the perfect movie to put in on like a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, that's the vibe it has for me. It's not a movie I'd watch at night with friends. I don't think, maybe depending on the setting and the scenario. But a Saturday afternoon chilling out by yourself or something, this is like the perfect horror movie to watch, and it's fun. But anyway, back to the wife thing. After he gets the son, he comes back up and has this whole situation. He ends up defeating fucking Big Ben, and all that shit goes on. But I'm leaving out a lot. But you really should watch it again. It's actually on Netflix Q now. So.
Oh really? Huh.
Yeah. Check it out. Yeah.
What about House 2: The Second Story? Is that on there?
House 2, I believe it is. I'm not 100% sure. I have not seen that one in a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not bad.
No, it's definitely different.
Yeah.
They changed.
I think it's a little more comical.
Yeah. They changed setting, characters. Yeah, it's got like a zombie grandpa cowboy, and he has a little worm creature that looks like a weird puppet. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh, fucking Catter Puppy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. That was one of those movies that was on like heavy rotation on like HBO or something like that. And I probably watched that like maybe 5 or 6 times. It's definitely a goofy movie.
Yeah, it was a little more lighthearted, and I think it was PG-13 where the original was R.
Yeah, and, exactly. Yeah.
I remember in part 2 they brought in what's-his-name, because part 1 had Norm from Cheers. Part 2 fucking brought in Cliff.
Yeah, and his cameo when he comes, it's just brilliant. Yeah.
Right. I haven't seen it in a while, so I can't really say all that much about it. The only knock I have on this movie, and I shouldn't, but the only knock I have on it is the end, when he saves the kid and everything else happens and this and that. And right when he comes outside the house and after he defeats the Big Ben and whatever, he comes out, and it just so happens to be at that time a taxi cab pulls up, and it's his ex-wife. And you find out that she's really glad that he really didn't kill his ex-wife, that it was the house and it was fucking with them. And then, of course, she's happy. She's overjoyed because she sees that he found their child. Uh-huh. The son comes back. He runs in. He's in his mother's arms. And she's holding him. And it's a real happy ending, and the credits roll. And I'm not really a fan of that type of Hollywood wrap-up ending of a horror movie. Right. But that's the only knock on it. But I did leave out that there's another hot chick in it. The chick that lives next door to him. And she fucking swims in his pool. That situation is comical, too. Do you remember that?
No.
Oh, she's like a Swedish chick. And, well, you will remember this probably. He meets the girl, and she's swimming in his pool. He's got this nice, beautiful pool. And then she talks to him, and she's real flirty with him. And at the time, he had already dismembered that big fat thing that he thought was his wife. And he's trying to dispose of it, and he's trying to bury it in the backyard, and he's taking all these little bags and burying them in different parts of the backyard. And she comes up and sees them and says, "Oh, I'm using your pool, sorry," and this thing, because I figure we're neighbors. And so then she gets real flirtatious with him, and she's hot too. And then he's talking to her, and the hand is fucking loose, and it's trying to grab his leg and then her leg, and he had to step on it. And that was actually,
I do remember that. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then she has a son. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And she brings her son over out of nowhere. The next night she goes, "Hey, will you babysit my kid?" And she just fucking kind of pawns him off on him. And
exactly. That's a good parenting right there.
Yeah, right. Yeah. She's going out getting fucking banged or something, And, the hand somehow gets loose because a dog digs it up at one point and runs off with it. He goes, "Oh, fuck, the hand's gone." And then the hand, when she gets to the house, somehow comes back, and it's on the back of her little boy's back.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, he has to chase him around, and he doesn't want the mother to see and all that. So to me, that's the type of comedy that takes place in this movie. It's just like, you kind of feel sorry for the guy, all the shit that keeps happening to him, but you're in on fucking everything with him, and some of the situations are comical. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but it's not, over the top.
Yeah. It's like a sitcom, situational. Every little scenario is like another episode or whatever in this guy's house. Yeah. Have you seen House 4? I've never seen that.
No, I have not seen House 4.
Yeah,
and I've only seen House 3, also known as the horror show.
Yeah.
A few times in the 80s. Mm-hmm. But I have not seen House 4. I think it was direct to DVD or maybe even fucking VHS for all I know.
Right. Yeah, it probably was. I don't know. I never saw it, so I just I'm curious about it, I guess. Especially since these movies kind of change settings and play, characters and everything.
Right. But this movie is a standalone film.
Yep. Mm-hmm,
it really is a classic. It's I think if you watch it again, you'll take more from it this time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, probably so. So, yeah, that was our top, our bottom two, I guess, of our horror comedy list. So before we get into our number ones, we're going to take a quick break, and you guys listen to this.
Holy shit!
What's up, lasers? We are back from the intermission. Hope you got your hot dogs, your candies, and your sodas, because we're back with our unholy trinity of horror comedies, and we are at our number one picks. And I will go, my number one pick for horror comedies. I love this movie, not just for the horror element, but that's what drew me into it. But the comedy is pretty brilliantly written. And that movie is Shaun of the Dead. Love this movie. I cannot get enough of this fucking movie. A lot of people say it's not really horror, but but The Burbs really wasn't horror either. This flick is so ridiculously well written by Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright. Huge fan of those guys. It's just intelligence oozes off of the script, and the characters. I mean, come on, Nick Frost and Simon Pegg's rapport in the fucking movie is just something to behold. They are fucking a comedy duo like no other. It's fucking great. Then, on top of that, when the zombie outbreak happens, they get it so spot on. It's like, these guys have seen Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead a million times. They do everything perfect from the Romero genre of zombies. Just perfect. They do, like at the end when the guy gets ripped in half, that's straight out of, Day of the Dead. It's just fucking, to me, this is as obvious pick because I'm a huge fan of these guys. But Dave, what do you think of Shaun of the Dead?
Well, I'll tell you.
You hate it.
No, not one bit. As a matter of fact, buddy.
Okay, good.
You and I on fucking Unholy Trinity are 3 for 3 in our top picks.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Yeah. It is fucking brilliant. I love this. The reason this is number one, there's many reasons, but the first thing that comes to mind, and I just watched it again tonight.
Yeah.
The reason, the best thing I can say about it is no other movie takes comedy and horror and fucking marries them perfectly as this movie does.
It's retarded. Yeah, I mean,
yes.
At the beginning, you get a lot of comedy. And all the setups. There's not a lot of horror, but then again, lots of horror movies are like that too. And
sure.
Then by the time you get to the last act, it's all action, horror. There's serious moments in there. I mean,
yeah.
And for these guys to make it work is pretty astonishing. I mean, to have all these kind of styles and genres. I mean, this is a romantic comedy. It's a horror movie. It's it's got all these things in it, and it all gels so seamlessly. It's pretty great. It's
fantastic, and the best thing about it is, I can't even say what the best thing about it is, but it's a perfect marriage of comedy and horror. It's done. It emancipates what a horror / comedy should be.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I don't think any other movie gets it right as much as this does. This is like the blueprint for a horror comedy, and it strange, because everything I like is out of the 80s. Not everything, but typically, both of us, we talk a lot about the 80s movies, mm-hmm. and there's some newer movies. This is a movie that's very recent, and it fucking nailed it. It took me totally by surprise when I saw it. I didn't know if it was going to be good, and I've seen it 4 times, because I like it so much I reserve it. It's one of those movies.
Mm-hmm.
And they're obvious. The way they reference night and dawn and day throughout the fucking movie.
Oh, it's great.
It's out of control. They have I was saying earlier that they have a lot of homages in Reanimator. Well, they do the same here. Mm-hmm. And if you're a freak of Romero, there's just fucking tons of it. I mean,
we're coming to get you, Barbara.
Right, yeah. Right, it's great. And then the guy mentions Ash as being the guy that called in that day. Yeah. and Sean's in the thing, and they work at a place called Foree Electric after fucking Ken Foree.
Holy shit, I never caught that. See, that's what I love about this movie is it fucking rewards you on repeat viewings because there is so many layers that these guys is so smart and the writing, they put so much stuff in here. It's impossible to get it all in one viewing. You need to watch this 3-4 times to kind of get all to see everything. They put so much into it. It's ridiculous. It blows me away how good it is.
It's so well made. It really is a film. The soundtrack, the music, the cinematography, everything about this movie is top notch. The acting, the writing, it really is that fine of a film. Mm-hmm. And it's strange to say, considering the subject matter, considering that it's fucking zombies, and considering that there's a lot of comedy elements mixed in with it. It's almost redundant to say that it's such a fine-made film, but from where I sit, it really is. It's a fucking excellent movie. Mm-hmm. Anyone that's a fan of zombies or comedy or understands anything about the genre, you got to see the movie. It's so much going on.
I think this is a movie that transcends genres because, unlike Return of the Living Dead or Reanimator, yes, those are funny, but somebody who's not a horror fan is not going to watch those. I think you can show this movie to almost just any movie fan, and if you're a fan of comedies, you'll like it. Maybe if you're a romantic comedy fan, you might like it too, because it has that whole plot thread storyline going on in it. I think you could take somebody who's just into comedies, and the whole by the time the third act is happening, they still won't be turned off because it's so engaging. You know what I mean? So I think it transcends in that aspect.
Yeah, it really the thing that blows me away is how much it took me by surprise. Because what was it, 2004?
Yeah,
2005.
It's been about 10 years ago now. Mm-hmm.
At that time in the horror genre, this is the last thing I would have expected to come out and blow me away in the manner that it did. That's what really floors me about it is the times that we're in, and for a movie to come along, and we've seen horror comedies and we've seen all this shit. From Evil Dead on up. We've seen tons of this shit for years, from the mid-'80s till now. For a movie to come in this day and age and say, and make itself the number one for this type of genre, even though it can't really be identified as a genre. I am identifying it as a genre, and you and I are doing it on the show. It's a horror comedy, and it fucking nails it. It's like I said before, it's the blueprint. And it's just everything about it. The gore. That's fucking gore. That's what it is. Like, if you watch another horror comedy like Dead Alive or something like that, you're going to see some blood and you're going to see some gore, The Toxic Avenger. And I'm not knocking those movies. They have their place and they're fun. The gore and the blood and shit, it isn't fucking top notch.
No, the effects are definitely different. They have a different approach with them, let's just say.
Right. This fucking shows real horror movie gore, the type of shit we want to see. Like, it's an obvious fucking tribute, but it's beautiful. That fucking part where that twat, as I call him, because that's what they call him through half the movie. I forget his name. But when the twat gets ripped up at the end, it's just like fucking Captain Rhodes in Day of the Dead.
Yeah, choke on him. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it looks so good. The gore and the fucking blood, there's nothing comical about the gore. You see movies where the gore is comical. It sounds silly to say, but there's comical gore and there's serious gore. In this movie, there's comedy moments and there's comedy situations throughout, something that's an apocalyptic thing, but that's what's happening in the movie. But when the gore and the fucking shit goes on...
Yeah, it's all serious, yeah.
Yes.
And they knew that going in. They knew that if those elements were going to work, they had to take it as seriously as possible. Because if they didn't, it wouldn't be as good as it is, definitely.
I mean, it's fucking... Even the beginning, I love the way they play it off while everybody's kind of a zombie already. In the beginning, you can't tell, right? You know what I mean, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, this guy's in his phone, and these people are at work, and these guys are doing that, and he's walking through the streets, and the bum. Then after the zombie outbreak starts, fucking Sean, when it first happens, doesn't even realize it because he's so accustomed to people somewhat behaving in that manner that it doesn't faze him.
Exactly. Yeah, he's walking through. There's dead people. He's just on his phone. Whatever. He's talking. He starts talking to a zombie. He doesn't realize it. He thinks it's a bum. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. That same guy. Right.
That's why this movie, the writing on this is so good.
Yeah.
They set up so many things that get everything, absolutely everything, gets a callback. They set up everything. It gets called back later. Absolutely everything. There's so much crazy trivia on this movie that I don't even really know where to begin to because like you just gave me the foray thing. I had no idea about that. But there's just it's like he wrote this script backwards. It's like, okay, I know it's going to end here. Now I need to absolutely 100% set every single thing up that's going to happen at the end, and so it just plays so brilliantly. And the horror, they got it right. The zombies, they look great. I think this is the first movie, and there's been other movies to do it now, where people pretend to be a zombie. Have you seen that before this? I think this is the first movie to do that. I don't think so.
No, I think this was the first time.
Yeah, I think so. But now that's a reoccurring thing.
Yeah, they did it in The Walking Dead. They did it in Zombieland, right?
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
Warm Bodies, which I haven't seen, but they played that in the trailer.
I haven't seen that either. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. So, and that's another. I mean, I guess that's a horror comedy. That's probably.
Yeah, it is.
That's probably.
I would say.
Yeah. Have you seen it?
No, I have not seen it. No.
Yeah, but have you seen any of Edgar Wright's other movies, specifically with these actors in it?
No, I've seen nothing. The only thing I've ever seen Simon Pegg in is this movie, for that matter.
No shit.
He's in all of them, right? There's Hot Fuzz, and there's the other one, and then he's done some other things too.
He has, but he's absolutely 100% best when he's paired up with Edgar Wright, the director and co-writer of this movie. And it shows. Whenever he's not, with him, he's funny. He's a good actor, but it's just lacking. I recently saw The World's End, which just came out to theaters, and holy fuck, dude, that movie is so good. It's retarded. It's not a horror comedy. It's a comedy and kind of a sci-fi movie and stuff like that. But it's just like this movie. It's so well written and it's so smart, and I just love it. Now, did you have a problem with any of the jokes translating as far as it being from the UK? Because some people, they're kind of standoffish to that kind of humor. To me, it translated very well.
I agree. I had no problem with the humor and it being that brand of humor. Mm-hmm. No, it worked out fine. I know the way they talk.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I've seen it enough. I've heard it in their music. It didn't really... Because I don't know if you probably do. I've talked about I had issues with Stitches when I watched that movie, Stitches.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had difficulty understanding what they were saying.
Their dialect was a little thicker, I think, in that movie.
Yeah, and I couldn't quite get it. But I guess because honestly, most of it probably comes from being a fan of the music I'm a big Beatles fan, and Oasis, and a bunch of other bands from the UK. And I've seen interviews with them, and I know how they talk, and I know some of their slang, and so all that shit I know. Like in the beginning, because my wife laughed at it. I was watching it earlier, and she was she was like overhearing it. I think she was cooking dinner or something. I was sitting on the couch watching it, and that part of the beginning where what's his name? Nick Frost, the big guy.
Yeah.
Okay, he says something. He goes. Any of you cunts want a drink? Or something he said, right?
Can I get any of you cunts a drink?
Which is great. And she's like, did he just say cunt? I go, yes. I said, but is the word.
Yeah, much different over there. Yeah.
They love using the word cunt. Cunt to them is like bitch to us.
Yeah,
exactly. Granted, it's not appropriate to say, can I buy you bitches a drink? But still, that's the cunt and twat, even how they call that guy a twat later on. Those are big words that they use. I mean, and they call everybody a cunt, guys, girls. It's just a fucking, I know a guy that got fired from his job. He was an English guy. He was in Las Vegas, and there was this fucking douchebag guy that he didn't like working. He was on his dice crew, and he came dressed up as a doctor. And something happened. There was something that led up to it. And the guy was dressed up as a doctor that day it was Halloween, of course. And somebody said something to him, maybe a hot chick or something, and the guy said to him, he goes, yeah, he goes, oh, well, me, he goes, I'm Dr. Love. Well, anyway, this guy had beef with him when he was fucking an Englishman, and he goes, you ought to call yourself Dr. Cunt, he said. The guy lost his job as a result of it.
Oh, no shit.
But, but that's just their word, and and I guess if you understand their dialect and their humor and the words they use, like piss. Piss means getting drunk,
Right. I think that was the only thing they changed for the American version. They changed when they said that Mary in their backyard was drunk. Pretty sure in the British version they said pissed. But
they would have, and it makes sense because that's the word they use, pissed.
Yeah.
Pissed, yeah, which is funny because it has such a different meaning in the States.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
which is fun. Well, I never thought about that. They did say she was drunk.
Yeah, they said drunk. I think that was the only one that they changed.
But that was a good callback because you see that woman in the opening scene.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, in
line working with the rest of the fucking worker bees at the supermarket, and she has the tag on, and then you see her, and she has the same expression on her face that she has when she turns around and they first see her in the backyard as a zombie.
Everything is called back.
Which is great.
Yeah, absolutely everything. I mean, and this has been said a million times before, but Nick Frost lays out the entire plot of the movie when they're in the bar. And at the Winchester. Yeah, he's like, we'll just keep drinking. We'll have a Bloody Mary in the morning, and that refers to them killing Mary, and so on and so forth. And
wow.
And yeah. So, but
you fucking blew my mind. Wow.
You didn't know that?
That's the one thing I'm sure there's more than one, but wow. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Have a Bloody Mary in the morning.
No, and then it goes on, and he's like, then we'll have a bite of the king's head or something like that, and that's supposed to allude to them going to kill Philip. Don't forget to kill Philip. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he says something else, and then he says, "Bang! We'll come back here for shots," which is what happens at the end. They come back. They get the gun. Yeah, that's how smart these guys are at fucking writing shit, dude.
Fuck.
It's insane. Yeah.
Wow, that is smart. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta go watch it again. And I even told my wife today, because she was in and out of it. She was cooking, she was doing this and that, and then she sat down, she was fucking around with her phone, and I'm watching it. And I'm trying to convey to her some of the shit that I'm conveying on the show, saying, this is what's great about this movie.
Right.
They blend this in, and I'm telling her, and she's on the couch, I can't help it.
Yeah, she doesn't care.
Right, right, exactly. But of course I think she does at the time, But I'm gushing over the movie like I am now, and I'm like, now I gotta watch it again for shit like that. Because what I always catch is all the shit that they took from the broadcast of Night of the Living Dead. Like everything you hear on the TV and everything you hear on the radio is verbatim to fucking what they said in Night of the Living Dead, which is fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
And how about the end? Did you catch when they said the thing about the fucking the rage in the monkeys.
Yeah, they said it was not caused by the monkey. Yeah,
monkeys infected with a rage.
Yeah.
That thing has been dismissed and she changed. That's fucking great.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's so many little nods like that to the genre. It's great, and then they're just brilliant writers on top of it, and it's brilliantly acted by these hilarious people. And also, this is probably a comedy first, but it blends the horror so well. It's great. But this movie, let's see, the Dawn of the Dead remake and 28 Days Later all came out within the early 2000s. And I blame these three movies for where we are with how, what do you call it? How saturated we are with zombie movies. Right, 10 years later, it's like those three movies came out and were fucking huge hits, all great movies.
Yes.
And so people were like, yes, more zombies, keep making them, let's go, zombies. Right. Now everything is fucking zombies and it's getting a little overdone. But this is one of the movies that contributed to the subgenre just fucking taking off yet again. You know what I mean?
It was great, and the comedy writing is great. There's just the dialogue in that movie. Some of it's laugh out loud comedy. It's fucking
it's gut busting. There's not a single wasted second in this movie. They fill the spaces perfectly with dialogue, and then even with the way that the characters portray everything. There's something in this movie that Simon Pegg says like 3 times, and the only reason I know about it is because he says it 3 times, and it's something that's not even really funny, but it's something I say in everyday life all the time now. And the what?
The dogs can look up, because that comes up.
Oh, that is good. Yeah. No, whenever it's mostly at the beginning. He's talking to someone. I believe the first time he's talking to someone about flowers, and they're just like, she's like, do you want the card to say this, or do you want the card to say this? And he's like, the first one. And he says that like 3 times in like 3 different scenarios. And it's not even really funny, but it's just the fact that it happens so many times, and I just love how he plays it and how it's written, the first one. It's not even funny, but in this movie with these guys doing it, everything is gold. It's just all gold. I love it.
Yeah, man. Yes, it is. Fuck it.
So let me ask you, did you think I was going to say Evil Dead 2 is my number 1?
I knew it was one or the other, but I also knew for a fact I was taking Shaun of the Dead. So it did, because I 2 and 3 I could have interchanged. Like I said, I made a list of 5, and they're all pretty good. But like I said, when you mentioned this, there's no question number 1 was number 1, because it's the only movie that perfectly blends horror and comedy. So it would be a fucking disservice for me to not have this as my number 1, because that's my opinion. Did I think you were going to pick Evil Dead 2? I knew it was one or the other.
Yeah. No, I mean, like I said, when I made this list, the first 2 were super fucking easy. Return of the Living Dead, Shaun of the Dead. Boom. Mm-hmm. Then the third one was tough, but never did I ever think of putting Evil Dead 2 in that. I thought
you were a fan.
I do like it. I like the first one much better.
Same here.
I'm more of a fan of the the scary. The first one's scary. The second one is comedic. The third one is a adventure comedy or whatever. I'm definitely more of a fan of the first one and the horror aspect of it. So yeah, when I was making this list, Evil Dead 2 didn't even pop into my mind. I know it's a huge favorite, for people, but I think Shaun of the Dead, if Shaun of the Dead isn't on everyone's number 1 list for horror comedies, then you're wrong.
Well, listen, I hear you, because there's so many good things about this movie. Mm-hmm. We can go on and on. It really is fucking tremendous. Mm-hmm. There's nothing you could say bad about it. There's not one bad element. Everything that goes into it fits perfectly, and it's funny and it's gory and it's just entertaining from start to finish. And Evil Dead 2. Here's something funny. I saw Evil Dead 2 before I saw Evil Dead 1. And I saw Evil Dead 2, and I remember I was a kid, because it was one of the many that I rented in the 80s, and it was dropped. The videotape was there. It came out, Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn. Okay, let's get this. I was blown the fuck away. First time I saw it, I was like, wow, I'd never seen anything like this. And I used to love it. Then that, of course, drew me to go seek out Evil Dead 1, which at the time, for some reason, it wasn't available at the same stores where I rented. So when I finally did see it, I saw Evil Dead 1, and I was like, holy fuck. Now this. Because, you see 2 kind of ripped on 1. Not ripped on it, but you know what? I don't have to get into details.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah.
Okay, a loose fucking remake. And then I saw 1, I'm like, they were trying to do something different, but it's the same movie. But this is fucking horror,
Yeah, exactly.
So for that reason, and that reason only, I've always held 1 on a pedestal, where so many people like 2 more than 1, and I never really got it. But, to each his own. And like I said, I did think of this movie, and I thought you would pick it, and I wasn't sure, and it was one of my, it was one of the movies I did think of, because I'm not going to besmirch it completely. It was, right. It's a fucking damn good movie. It's funny, but the thing is, I discovered as I'm watching these other movies that how much it actually bit off of these other movies that came before it. And I hate to fucking say that, but
yeah, that's crazy. All the connections with House that you were saying, I didn't even get that before.
Yeah, the fucking the fish on the wall was the same thing, except they used a deer, and the hand choking the person that happened in Reanimator and Return of the Living Dead, and they both came before Evil Dead 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's almost like they saw that and said, "Okay, let's do what we did and take a few of it." Not, I don't want to shit on Evil Dead 2 because I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. It's not on the same level as 1, but I own it. It's a Blu-ray that of course I own it, and I will watch it from time to time. So,
Yeah, I actually own more copies of Evil Dead 2 than I do anything else.
Oh, do you really?
I think I have like 3 or 4 different, between Blu-rays and DVDs, yeah.
No shit. But what do you think about Army of Darkness?
I like the first half. By the time the battle starts happening, I tune out. Not that it's bad, but the first half is definitely... the first half has got so many funny elements in it. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely third in the series. They go 1, 2, 3 for me, definitely.
Yep, same here.
So, let's... so that was our list. Shaun of the Dead, number 1.
Oh, yeah.
Big fans. Let's talk about some of the others that didn't make the list. Like I said, I was trying to fill in that third slot, and a couple ones that popped up to me were Gremlins 1, and American Werewolf in London. Those 2 I was kind of grappling with. I was like, man, I don't know if Gremlins is... Well, yeah, I would say Gremlins is horror. I mean, it's funny how... Gremlins, it's kind of a kid's movie, but there's some crazy shit in it. And I think that movie started out originally as like a rated R kind of horror movie, and then somebody injected, made the Gremlins like funny and stuff like that, and Snow White fans and all this shit. But there's crazy stuff in that movie, dude.
Oh, absolutely. Here's something about Gremlins. Gremlins came out before the PG-13 was around.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yes. And I remember going to the movies to see this, and I'd never seen this before or since. But I went to the movies to see it in its initial run, and they had signs that said, even though this movie is rated PG, there are many scenes in this movie that may be disturbing to young viewers, please, parents, be advised. They actually had disclaimers in the theater as you're in line, like taped on the fucking, on where you speak to the fucking, to the people selling the tickets.
Yeah.
They actually had disclaimers for that movie. That eventually led to the reason, the advocation of PG-13.
No shit.
But I'll never forget that. I only saw it at that time. And I was like, Of course, I didn't care. I was into it, but I mean, yeah, I'll never forget that they had signs there that said that. Haven't seen it since because shortly after that, PG-13 came out, and there you have it. But yeah, Gremlins is. I was thinking about it. I was thinking about movies like Gremlins and movies like Ghostbusters.
Yeah,
and if I consider them horror comedies or not. And the thing is, Ghostbusters is obviously a comedy first.
Yeah.
You know, with horrific, not even horrific, ghosts flying around, you know, whatever. Not even very horrific elements, just kind of scary, like Haunted Mansion scary, I guess.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Not all that scary, but still. Gremlins was a little bit more like a monster movie. Like fucking... But, I mean, I would compare it to, even though it's completely different, I would compare it to watching Godzilla. It's not like... It's a monster movie. Granted, it's a bunch of little monsters doing some shit. But when I sit there and say it's a horror comedy, you know, I'm not so sure. I would consider it a horror. But then again, what do you really label it? It's tough to label because it is full of crazy shit. I mean,
yeah,
there's some scary fucking things going on in Gremlins.
Yeah. And I saw it at a young age, and it's one of those movies that kind of transformed me, you know, to really like the horror genre, you know, because because there's crazy stuff in it. They kill people in this movie, some very horrifically and stuff like that.
Yes, they do. And then how about when they fucking blow that one up in the microwave? That's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, my daughter, she loves it. You know. She's 7 years old. She fucking loves Gremlins and Gremlins 2.
Oh, shit.
And they don't scare her in the slightest.
Yeah.
No, she just thinks they're great. So,
that's good.
The funny thing is I edit some of the cursing. There's a little bit of cursing going on in that movie. Not much, but, I don't know,
How do you edit it?
I watch it with her. I know when it's coming up. I hit the mute button.
Oh, really? Okay. I thought you you put it on your computer and you go through and edit.
Oh, imagine that!
Edit scenes out.
Yeah, I wish I had that talent. Yeah, no, I just watch it with her and I hit the mute button. It's the same thing when. This is funny. She loves the fucking House of a Thousand Corpses soundtrack. And as a child, as a baby, she grew up hearing it. And in the beginning of some of those Rob Zombie songs, there's little things where they have excerpts from the movie, and there's the part supposedly shut your fucking mouth and all that shit, you know. Listen, you Malibu middle class Barbie piece of shit. They have that whole fucking speech before Little Piggy, and she loves that song Little Piggy. Now, when she's in the car with me, I have the iPod, and I have my daughter's name's Francesca. I have the Francesca playlist. And there's like 4 or 5 Rob Zombie songs from the soundtrack. So when those things come on, I do the same thing. As I'm driving and the curse words come on, put my hand on the fucking volume and lower it. So it's like, shut your mouth. And it goes back. I do that every fucking time my daughter hears any of that shit from fucking Rob Zombie. And, you know, I don't mind her seeing the violence that takes place in Gremlins and things like that. It doesn't really seem, you know, too horrific to me. So I don't bother. And she's afraid of blood anyway, so if there was any real blood, she just doesn't want to see it. That's her. She's afraid to see anything bloody, and that's fine with me. I don't want to push blood on her anyway.
No, you have to watch this. You have to drink this blood.
Here we go. Yes, fucking blood. No, but just, you know, when it comes to language, I censor. You know.
Yeah, that's good.
It's fucking as much of a potty mouth as I am on this show. I've said it before. Nobody hears me curse. My daughter's heard me say "damn it" once in my life in 7 years. And she still remembers it.
Your daughter gave us a hell of a review on iTunes, I'll tell you that. So I think she's listening.
Nice, yeah. It won't be too long. As fucking advanced as she is with the computer, she'll be on there. And she does know about BananaLaser.
Oh, really?
She's never heard it, but she knows about it. She sees something. Daddy, take that picture. It's a banana. Oh, yeah, she talks about our shit. Yeah, it's funny.
Oh, that's good.
I let her listen to like a minute, like of the very first show when it first dropped. I'm like, listen, baby, it's Daddy. So I put it on, of course. You know, I can't let her listen to much because I'm cursing like a fucking sailor. So I go, there's Daddy, listen, it's BananaLaser. She listens to the intro, we see this and this, and, then I lower, and then that's all she gets to hear. But she talks about it. It's quite funny,
That's good. Yeah, she's definitely going to seek that out here in a couple years.
Oh, yeah, she'll be on it.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. Oh, fuck. Way I talk about women. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she's going to seek out that fucking Skeleton Crew show.
Oh, fuck. See? Don't even let me think
Okay, yeah, sorry. Moving on. So what what were some of your other picks that didn't make the list?
Well, you did mention American Werewolf in London.
Yeah.
And I did
Great
consider
movie.
it. Oh, I fucking might be my favorite werewolf movie, period. I don't consider it enough. I don't think there's enough comedy in that movie to constitute it as a horror comedy.
That's what I thought too.
So I didn't. There was a few that I didn't think. Some people consider that.
It has more lightheartedness, in the non-horror scenes. It's mostly between the banter between him and his friend / zombie friend and stuff like that. It's just kind of lighthearted and stuff. But yeah.
Yes, it's only that. You're right, and it is just between them two. And yeah, and that was one of them. And of course, Evil Dead 2, which we've already discussed.
Yeah.
That was an obvious thing, and I may have put that as a 3 at one point. I was just waiting to see what you were going to pick. I had my list and what have you. I like all these movies. What else? I said Evil Dead. I said American Werewolf. There's another movie. There's a couple movies. One's called Street Trash, and one is called Brain Damage. Have you seen either of them?
No. I have Street Trash. I bought it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I haven't sat down and watched it. I've seen clips of it, and it looks fucking crazy.
It's fun.
But I haven't sat down and watched it yet. No.
Oh, Street Trash is a fun fucking movie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's... Have a few drinks and kick back and watch it. I mean, there's some shit in there, and some of it gets out of hand. But it's just not... it's not as good a film as others. I would have sworn it was a trauma film. But it's not.
Yeah, it definitely has that look and feel about it. Mm-hmm.
Yes, it does. And it even has some of the actors from some of the trauma movies in it.
Okay.
So they are good, they are entertaining, but I can only take them so serious. I can't say that it's a top 3 all time. They would really have to wow me to say that, But Street Trash, yeah, there's a lot going on in that movie, and check that one out. And now Brain Damage is a little bit like Basket Case.
I was getting ready to say, it's done by the same guy, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
Have you seen Basket Case then, I assume?
No.
Really? Holy fuck.
I've seen clips of it, I've seen scenes and stuff like that, but I've never sat down and just watched the whole thing. No.
Oh shit, give it a try.
Yeah.
Give that a try. Give Brain Damage a try. Brain Damage, I don't know how easy it is to acquire.
Mm-hmm.
They probably have it on Netflix. How much? I have a copy here. So I have that, but not a lot of people know about it, Brain Damage. But it's funny. The character itself is funny. There's this little thing. It's called Elmer, or not even Elmer, Aylmer, Alymer.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and it's this thing, and it talks, and it has this voice. Hello, I'm Elmer. Now why don't you? Long story short, whoever controls Elmer, he basically injects something in their brain that gets them high, like a real high, and they feel fucking terrific. But he fucking needs blood to feed, so he makes you, while you're high, go out and kill.
Oh, okay. That's good.
Yeah, it's a pretty good concept.
Yeah.
But some of it's just played off so silly because of the way this fucking thing looks. It almost looks like fucking Mr. Hanky or something,
I remember the trailer way back when, and I really wanted to watch it as a kid after seeing the trailer, but I just never got around to it.
Basket Case is cool, but I prefer Brain Damage and Street Trash to it. But Basket Case is a little freaky. So the humor in that is more black humor. It's not. I don't know. It's hard to explain. The other 2 movies I spoke, Street Trash and Brain Damage, are a little more lighthearted and enjoyable. Where Basket Case has a little bit more of a scarier freak show feel to it, I guess. I don't know. It just rubs me a different way. I like them all, but those are the movies that almost made the cut, but they're just not as good of movies as the three that I picked, the three you picked, except Evil Dead 2. Evil Dead 2 is a good movie.
Yep, absolutely.
You know, the other ones are a cut below, but definitely enjoyable.
Yeah, I think I will get some flack for picking The Burbs because that really isn't a horror movie. You know, it's definitely just a comedy, and it just has some themes, you know, that would be considered horror, if anything. But yeah, that's definitely. But I mean, it's a stylized comedy, and to me, it fits. So, you know, who knows?
They don't like it too fucking bad.
Yeah, exactly. It's my fucking show. It's our fucking show.
That's
you want
right.
your own show? You fucking start your own show. Fuck you.
That's right. And we'll get you whacked. You know?
Whacked. What is that, like I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, man, every time Dave says whacked, an angel gets its wings. You know, it's so awesome.
I confess I said whack that time on purpose. I played it out. I hadn't said it in a while. I said, I got to find a way to say whacked one more time. So that one was planned.
Yeah, no shit.
So at least somebody, if they're watching it, and they played the game, watching it. If they're listening and they played the game, they had 4 drinks. So
well, it depends on how drunk they are. They might be watching it. Fuck, who knows?
Well, hey.
Jesus.
Well, I've had 4 drinks too, so they'll be right along with me.
That's good.
Perfect. Yep.
All right. Well, that pretty much wraps it up. Our unholy trinity of horror comedies. And this was a blast walking through all these movies and talking about them. So with that, guys, we are going to get out of here. See you the fuck later.
Later, lasers.